Welcome, y'all. So happy to be here. You are at the In Focus panel discussion with some of the best peeps I know and some incredibly talented artists and lovely humans. Dun, 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 dun. So we're really excited to be here. Happy Pride. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Okay. I'm Tracey Carswell. My pronouns are they, them. I'm one of the co-founders of Queer Metalsmiths, and we're an organization and a community space that honors, centers, and uplifts 2SLGBTQIA+ makers, metalsmiths, and jewelers, and support folks who are often marginalized or underappreciated in this industry. And so we do a lot of exhibitions. We have Queerphoria, and we're really excited. This is our second year doing the In Focus exhibition with SNAG, which is intended to highlight BIPOC and 2SLGBTQIA+ makers and artists, and just give them a platform to be seen and appreciated. So we have a virtual exhibition, which this is just a slideshow, but you'll be able to see it on our website and on SNAG's website. And then, wow, my brain just went squirrel. And then we also have the in-person highlight with some of our artist pieces over in Adorned Spaces, which closes later today. So if you haven't had a chance, pop over after this. We also have some stickers now. Okay. So, So in this show, we are so excited. We have 36 artists and over 60 pieces in the full exhibition. And I'm going to be introducing 3 of our artists and one of our jurors. So Rodrigo is our other juror and could not make it today to the show, but we love you, Cool, so I'm going to start with Michelle, aka Meesh the Great, Flowers. She, her?
She, her,
Zir. Okay. She's a somatic activated healing artist and creative alchemist whose work fuses the ancient practice of Reiki with raw materials to create vibrant, energetic, and whimsical adornments. Inspired by her own journey of healing and self-discovery, Meesh infuses each piece with deep, transformative energy. As a new thought leader and mystical arts sorceress, Meesh's work is a reflection of her personal experiences and a testament to the power of healing. Her creations are not merely jewelry, but portals to self-awareness and inner peace. Meesh's commitment to diversity and inclusion is evident in her advocacy for the BIPOC and LGBTQ+ communities. Her compassionate approach and extensive knowledge of the healing arts allow her to create unique and personalized experiences for every client. Chen An Hai, Huai, they, them. They're a multidisciplinary artist working primarily in jewelry, currently based in Chicago. They are Chinese-American transracial adoptee, interested in the act of crafting their own heirlooms and sharing pairs of jewelry with someone. So you'll see that they're wearing one of their pieces, and then both of their pieces are in the virtual exhibit, so you can speak with them or also learn more about the work they're doing. I mean, you'll hear it soon. Mia Ferrero, they, them. Mia's a metal worker and currently a junior at SUNY, New Paltz, obtaining their BFA in metal. Their work has been exhibited in Queerphoria Volume 5 at New York City Jewelry Week 2025 and Acquired Taste at the Draw Gallery in Kingston, New York. And they have also titled Heirloom. You both have the same title, I love it. And that is a brooch that is on display. And you'll be able to hear a little bit more about that. And last but not least, Babonus Giron, also they, them. What is the theme? I mean, Meesh, you're just special. I mean, you're just awesome and special. So Pav is a multidisciplinary artist and author living and working across the Great Lakes region. They received their BFA in jewelry and sculpture from UW-Milwaukee and are an MFA candidate in the metalsmithing at Cranbrook Academy of Art. So you'll see one of their pieces, the table, opening of the mouth, that is on display as part of In Focus. And then they also have a couple other brooches and pendants that are part of the virtual exhibit. So you'll be able to see that here and on the website. Cool. All right. Okay, so we're about on time, a little bit. So we're gonna go through a few questions and just give folks a chance to answer about their experience. These are the questions that we asked the artists to answer, and just allow them to get a little more in depth on this. So the first question, how does your creative practice reflect your experience of living and making as a BIPOC and or 2SLGBTQIA+ maker? Let's start with you. Come on down.
Hi everyone, thank you for coming. I do feel very strongly that everything that I make is kind of an extension or an impression of myself, and so it does feel very inevitable that these aspects of my identity and of my life, being queer and being mixed race, are going to come through in the work. And sometimes that's a thing that is very at the fore, perhaps in the material. It's work that I think had been part of perhaps a previous show, included adobe clay, which is really traditional for the Southwest, but specifically also from Mexico, which is patrimonially, part of my culture. But in some of the subject matter, you get a little bit more of the, the sexuality side of things in some of my pieces. So it's always there, and it doesn't always come so much to the fore, but there are times where it does.
Thank you. Mia?
Hey everybody. In terms of my identity, I think that the fact that jewelry is a integral part of its definition as jewelry is that it has to be touched by the human hand or the human body, whether that be that it is worn or that it is made by the human hand. And I think that in and of itself is an act of rebellion in a time when history is being disregarded and losing its diversity and losing its reality. To sit down and make something that will outlive me due to its materiality, and also the fact that the internet now exists and now that it will live forever in a virtual exhibition, is an act of rebellion and is proof that no matter how much you try to quiet our voices as queer artists, it will not happen because it cannot be done. And just kind of leaving behind the artwork that we make is proof that we are here and that we are real and we are powerful, and the fact that we can create something bigger than ourselves.
Great.
Hey y'all. My work, I am a very mess around and find out type person, and I started making at a very young age because I never saw things that really resonated with me and symbolized my own complexity. I just would make things that resonated with me, like bright and moody. It's like Rainbow Bright, but I'm also He-Man. Like I have a lot of complexity to me, and my work reflects that. So. Oh, yeah. Got it.
I think I kind of want to also, hi everyone. I wanted to kind of expand a little bit about what you were saying, Mia. That I feel like a lot of the time with jewelry, the intention when we're making it is that this is something that's going to last a long time, and it might go to other hands, and so kind of my life as a queer person will live on through these objects. And it's, interesting, thinking about where these objects travel and what we know about them. Sometimes we don't know too much. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you. So the next question is a little more about how and what you use. So what techniques, stories, or materials have been passed down to you? And how are you reimagining them in the present? Start with you. I know, we're gonna mix it up. It's really
Been
wild.
chosen. The way that I interpreted this, because when I think of being passed down in like the lineage, I think of my parents, and neither of them are artists. But something my mom and dad have instilled in me is this sense of hard work, and that nobody owes you anything, but it doesn't mean that you can't earn it. And my mom used to always say growing up that love won't pay your bills. So if you marry somebody and they don't got a lot going on, they better have the drive to figure it out, because love letters do not pay your rent. And as much as I appreciate that sentiment, as I was going through art school and being a part of a really beautiful BFA program where I felt like I was a part of a community that was really checking in on me, both as an artist and as a person, I realized that life is kind of very lonely, because you sort of look around and you look at everybody with this lens of judgment, and you don't want to let anybody in. And so when going into this year, I sort of kind of let my guard down and started to make work more about myself and about like looking more inward, I guess. Like this brooch is a portrait of my great-grandmother Isabel, who was a Cuban immigrant and whose story has not been shared to me in the recent years, except for the recent years, I mean. And so I guess that I think that those moments of vulnerability can really build who you are as an artist. And I think that I'm very young, I'm not very young, but I'm 21, oops. And and I think that having the ability to sort of say that letting my guard down might protect me more than keeping it up, especially when I go into making work that I feel like means a lot to me, is something that I carry with me every day. So, yeah.
Matt, who's chosen?
You've been chosen.
So I think I've been thinking a lot about this for the past year or two, that because I'm transracially adopted from China, so my parents adopted me from Huainan, Anhui, and I grew up in the States, and both my parents are white American. And so I think a lot about the things that I lost and the things that I've been given because of that experience, that I don't have any knowledge of my blood birth family, and so sometimes it's, it's always been up to me. My parents also told me, like, it's up to me how much I want to explore these things, and I do. It's sort of been an interesting experience since April. I went back to China for the first time, went back to my birth city to really just live there, just have a life there, and also just have a lot of interest in what things look like, the architecture, the culture. And so my cousin told me something really beautiful last year, that they're also Chinese American, obviously not blood related to me, but that as people who are like of diaspora and being separated from something in some way, like we are people that have existed for a long time, and we are also kind of our own group of people, and that is up to us what we choose to keep or reject. And so, yeah, I like to make my own stuff because my birth family they weren't able to give me things, but I can still make things, and I think that's really powerful.
What are you sharing mics with you? Hi again. For me, I love, like I said before, putting things that don't normally go together. My family were interesting. They were professional. My mother was an attorney. My father worked in public housing. My mother was more from a affluent background, and my father was from Trenton, New Jersey, so he was from the hood. And I had an interesting childhood because it was both of those worlds merged. Also, my father was a musician, and I was an artist. My brother was an artist, and they really couldn't understand us. So I would take experiences from my childhood as well as just traveling with my family and make things because I was just with them. I really wasn't around other people like that. I would find things, make things, things will fall apart, I'll put them back together better, and that influenced my work greatly.
Thank you. Oh, sorry, girl. What happened? I get the mic and yeah, anything else exists.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of have some similarities with you. There's a bit of an interruption in this like lineage, I think, in both aspects of the identity that we're talking about here, where my grandparents had come from Mexico, but they didn't bring a lot of traditions with them, and they didn't bring even like the Spanish language to my dad and his sisters. And so there's this gap in knowledge between them and where my cousins and I are now. And they didn't come from a family of artists, so there's a lot of, I would say a lot of like Mexican metalsmithing history and tradition that I'm just kind of having to discover at this point in time. And even on the queer side of things, that's something that sometimes, you know, I would be surprised if any of us knew this directly from birth and were able to be able to grow up knowing, you know, aspects of that side of culture. So that is also another thing that I feel like I'm having to tap into later in life and trying to make connections and find out these histories, especially, you know, I'm thankful that there's so much that's been documented here in the US, but there are still a lot of gaps in what has been documented, what we have access to, and so much of that relies on building these connections. I'm having to rebuild connections with my grandparents. I'm having to rebuild connections across my community in order to find out, like, what is the language that we're using? What are the art and craft traditions that we were a part of before? And so it's always this like constant process of kind of excavating these things and finding where they align with who I am as a person and what the art needs.
I'm glad I gave you the mic. Thanks. It's really beautiful because we all just have such different experiences and like where we started, how we got here, all of that good stuff. This next question kind of builds on that a bit. So, beyond what was passed down to you, how does your work honor those who came before you while forging new pathways for the future? So it's a similar question, but it's kind of looking forward. Meesh, set it up. And Meesh, also, because you're here in a capacity both as a juror and as an artist, not in this particular exhibition, but you are an exhibited artist. So if there's anything you do want to share about your experience as a juror that relates to your practice or any of this, feel free to share that, no pressure, because we also want to hear all about your art.
Thank you. So being a juror for this exhibit was interesting because I was looking at it not just objectively, but also as an artist, like, you know, how I felt when, so I presented at the Mint Museum in Charlotte, and I wondered the things that they considered to even ask me to be an exhibit for that. And just going through the work with a fine-tooth comb because of the different studies that I've jumped into. Like, okay, how can our queer voices be reflected in this, I won't say, well, I don't know if it's hetero, it is what it is. In this space, how can our voices be heard? How can we be shown? How can we be showcased? And how can we just leave impact? And so that's something that I considered when jurying and picking the pieces for this exhibit. Me as an artist, I like to, again, put things that don't normally go together and make it work. I like shiny things. I like bright colors. I like to exist in a place that tells you it's either this or that. I'm like, no, it's everything. It's everything. It's everything. So.
You're so non-binary.
I like it.
Love it.
Just everything. It's the iridescence of it all. So I exist, and my work shows that I exist. The opulence, the moodiness, the rebel. Yeah.
And next up we have, don't want to miss you.
Thank you.
Do you still remember the question?
About bringing craft forward, or well, I'm going to focus on bringing craft forward because I do think that this.
We're not here.
Well, because I do think that this is, when we had first gotten all of these questions, that was what came to the forefront was, to me, this is the way through which I can carry anything forward through my artwork. And as it is that one thing that I'm like kind of excavating, as for the last question, it is the thing that I feel is the best way for me to connect with, previous generations of artists and future generations of artists. It's something that I feel very strongly about also as kind of like a political aspect of being an artist and just kind of being a person in this moment in time. And that's a little bit kind of informed by, I guess, Waldorf's school of thinking mentality, where if you can have the ability to make something with your hands and you have the ability to pass that information on from one person to another, then you also have the power to, say, be able to repair something in your home or to make something that's unique to you. And I think that that asserts your identity as a person, but it also empowers you to be able to step away from kind of falling into these very expected patterns, whether that's in a kind of capitalistic sense or you're just going with the flow, you're moving with trends. It allows you to think for yourself more. And so I think that for me, I feel very strongly about saving craft from this almost conservative viewpoint that I think that we've kind of fallen into at some points, where it gets lumped into like trad sort of things. And I really think that that's a complete mischaracterization of what craftsmanship can do.
Thank you. Next up, who's it gonna be? It's you. Anne.
Can you repeat the question?
I was waiting. It's like, I don't remember what the question is, and I have the notes. How does your work honor those who came before you while forging new pathways for the future?
Yes. I think I talked about it a little
Yeah.
bit already. Honoring, where I was born. But I think I more want to talk about the moving forward aspect, where I'm kind of discovering through just when I started making jewelry, it was always just for fun. And then it was always in the form of gifts. And so that I've been thinking about that aspect, how the reason why I make things is a lot of the time because it's a gift. And so then I started making things in pairs of twos, where sometimes I like very similar objects, like the necklace that I'm wearing. My cousin that I talked about earlier also has a very similar one. And so it's kind of like, it can connect me to other people who are very far away. And also, I guess another big theme of my life is that a lot of people that I care about and know, even if it's in a very abstract way, like there is a lot of physical distance. And so to have two of something is that tie.
So when I first read the question, it sort of took me, I was kind of taken aback because the way that I look at my work is that I feel like I owe it to everybody to do the best that I can. If you took me apart, the entire infrastructure of my life is based on the sacrifices of people who never would meet me. The only reason I'm here is because of immigrants. My parents started learning financial literacy and taught it to themselves in hopes of having a kid one day that they could build a better life for, and they succeeded. And even now, my mom's waiting for me to send her this recording. And so, sorry, I'm getting emotional. And so looking forward, I feel like I really owe it to make the most out of this really awesome life and awesome talent that I've been given, and some of my BFA cohort and one of our directors are in the audience, and I'm so grateful to them because I just think about all of the times that there's kind of this like unconditional love that I don't think is accurately represented in the main story of immigrants. There's this one facet of immigrant woman where they cook, they clean, they work, and they are stoic in their strength. And I have not experienced that because I've been given the privilege to make mistakes. And I think that that is so much of I'm so grateful for the opportunity to do that, especially in my art. And in my work, I am able to just really play around and like have a lot of fun with how I want to represent these things. And this piece is a little bit more serious, but I went into making this just being like, I just want my mom and her sisters to love it. I want them to see themselves represented in how I see them. And I really made this for my family. And not in a transactional sense. I think that there's a lot of, like my mom is first generation, and I think that there's a lot of feeling of like a transactional relationship between ancestry where you have to be good because somebody made all these sacrifices for you. But I just really wanted to honor the idea of my mom being a cycle breaker, and all of her and her two sisters as well, and my dad aiding in that. And just being really grateful for the awesome life that I have that was given to me by immigrants in a time when they're being misrepresented and spit on by an administration that could only exist because of them. So that's kind of, I went on a rant, but yeah.
You're in the right place to go on rants, please. I have things to say. Thank you. Thank you all. Like, I really appreciate you coming on and, you know, not only it takes so much vulnerability to, like, we don't ask necessarily easy questions. We ask questions that you can go as deep as you want, but y'all are amazing, and you give us such a beautiful vulnerability because it's connected and intertwined with your art. You know, so it's like you can't have one without the other, but it is a treasure and an honor to have the space for these kinds of conversations in this. Now I'm getting emotional. Would you start me?
My bad.
It's okay. I'm gonna move on. I'll be okay. So, you know, just for that question, right, looking forward, like we're moving forward because of the art and the artists in our community. Yeah, I love y'all. So, okay. I'm gonna switch these questions up a little bit because I feel like, yeah. Okay, so looking to the future, did you go? Did I skip you? No. Sorry, I'm a little squirrely, so sometimes I'm like, what's that? Anything, yeah, just looking to the future, can you share something you're excited about? Do you have any new work you're looking forward to completing soon? Any upcoming exhibitions, projects, travel, research? And I'm gonna just lump in the other question too, so you can have a little more time. You know, and if there's anything else you want to share about your practice, that could be like part of the process, or it could be sourcing materials or research. So you start.
That is incredibly broad.
Okay.
Okay, so
What you up to? What you doing?
Oh.
Tell us all about it. We want to hear what you're doing.
Well, I'm in grad school, so that's my entire life right now. So I am excited for my second year. I will say, if you have gone to grad school, I'm sorry. If you are going to grad school, maybe look into a 3-year program, because 2 years is very, very short. Really happy for where I'm at, but it's very fast. So that's going to be pretty much the next year of my life, and I'm really excited for kind of next steps in that in these next few months. So I'm looking forward to continuing to work with a variety of materials. I get really, maybe not bored, I think a little polyamorous with materials, and that has kind of shown in the work that's up here on the screen. So I enjoy woodworking, I enjoy metalsmithing, but I also enjoy working with a lot of different materials. And the pieces that are on screen include working with livestock horn and bone and natural fibers. And I think that that's something that I enjoy embodying in my work, is trying to make materials that are from waste or from otherwise overlooked things. If I'm going to eat meat, I should probably be using all of the discards of the animal as well. So I feel a little bit strongly about that. But I also feel like it's a way for me to be able to continue to push my technical skill set, and that's always been a driving part of my practice. So on top of that, I do illustration, and that's gonna be the other half of my time. So excited for both of these aspects of my life, sitting in front of something and moving my hand very slowly, and hopefully, you know, getting into the hot shop and working with the forge and working with some woodworking again. So a little broad.
Thank you. That's exciting. Who's next? I swear I planned it all out.
A little bit about me. I work at home. I've always worked at home. My little bench is in my bedroom, and so I feel like, what do I want to talk about? In terms of materials, I don't do this all the time, but I do think it's very important to work with what you have. Like, really take stock of what you have already, the resources, the people you know, and just go from there. And I do think that informs my practice the most, really assessing what's around me and why it's there and how I can change it, maybe. So, I did so much traveling earlier this year. I don't really know how much I'll do for the rest of the year. I might be just needing to work. Have some more normal life for some time. But this whole conference, meeting all these people, felt really special. Maybe in some ways I felt a little isolated in my practice, but I feel like I've met so many people, it feels like my world has opened up so much.
Meesh the Great.
So
Hey, you're the one who gave me a business card when I met you that said Meesh the Great, and I put you in my phone that way. So that's who you are to me ever, always. Saying.
What am I looking forward to? So I am currently developing a line for women that I go into play spaces, both BDSM and vanilla spaces, and people aren't being able to protect themselves. So I've developed these floggers that also can be weapons that women can put on their bags. So if anyone is testing them, they could take it off and smack someone and hurt them. So developing that, as well as my shibari practice, and I mix that with my jewelry as well. And what else? Going to a shibari retreat in the Catskills with other healers that also practice the craft. Developing my grills and combining that with my enamel work. I look forward to doing that. It's just a lot of play. I look forward to play and travel and to expand and to do whatever it is I want to do. That's it.
Just a couple things.
So because I'm still in undergrad, the biggest thing coming up is that next year I have a senior thesis to do. I'm very scared, but we're gonna do it. And I guess I also love making production pieces. I love making jewelry to wear. I love giving it as gifts. And I think it's because my first introduction to jewelry was how I started learning about my family members. Because it would be this one little piece of opulence that contrasted their otherwise very not fanciful life. And so I became really interested in how I was learning about my grandmother and my great-grandmother through what they left behind in these investments that were also adornments, and how that reflected their relationships and how that reflected their personal values and their views of themselves. So I like making production work for the sole wear more, I guess, I don't know if I should call it production, but more wearable rings and things like that, fashion jewelry, simply because I think that it is tied to a really long history of finding power in personal adornment and how you dress yourself and how intimate and it's not kind of religious that is for people. But other than that, I work in a lot of brass and copper because it's what I can afford. Hey, silver $63 right now. It went down from 72 last week. Who's got the pulse on silver? But yeah, I'm really excited to see what comes out of this thesis. I have a couple ideas. Interning at Brooklyn Metalworks this summer. They have a show opening, by the way, this Saturday. We'll be up for a while, so go see it. Yeah, just trying to learn all that I can before the unknown hits me and I get that diploma in my hand and I'm like, cool, so where's my bus ticket to the end of my life? I'm just, I don't know where I'm going. But yeah.
Awesome. Exciting. I cannot wait to see what you all create and do. It's really exciting. So we have a little time for Q&A. If anybody has questions they'd like to ask any of the artists or anyone. Yes.
Yeah, so for those of you that are attending or are going to grad school, sorry, this isn't necessarily directly related to this, what made you choose to go and how's it going? And if you've already completed it, do you feel like it was a good experience? Anybody?
I don't. It's not me. Not me. I don't know what it is.
Is that me?
I'm 20 years into my career and I still haven't went.
Oh,
Yeah,
no,
I
no,
haven't
no.
either, so.
Yeah, I feel really strongly that the longer you can spend outside of academia, perhaps the better. Because otherwise, what life have you lived to inform what you might be doing when you return to it? So maybe take a little break if you're thinking about grad school. Just spend some time out.
Don't worry.
Okay.
You don't.
All right,
I'm
cool. So I went because I wanted to be able to understand more about my art making process, and that's a little bit difficult to put a pin on. It's not like I'm trying to work on how are my glaze formulations going to progress in the future, or I have this specific idea for a show, or like a body of work that I'm trying to create. It was more focused on, I want to be in dialogue with other artists in an academic setting in order for me to understand better how we're all thinking about how we're making our art and how I might be able to better navigate it and be able to better speak to it in the future. It's like getting into what is the skeleton of the art making, so then after I am out of grad school, I can understand why a little bit more. And I feel like there was another part of your question.
It was just kind of like what the experience was like, or
Yeah.
why you might be doing it, and do you regret it, basically.
No, I don't regret it at all, but I do feel very strongly also about something that pretty much every single one of my instructors in undergraduate said, which is, don't go to grad school unless they're paying for it. So if you're going into a program and they're not going to give you some sort of stipend, or they're not going to give you, significant financial support, don't do this to yourself. I feel really positively about the program that I'm in. I feel like I've grown a lot, and I feel like I kind of got the perfect match for me. So take some time and really get to know who your cohort might be and who your instructors might be. And if it doesn't feel like it clicks for you, it's kind of like finding a therapist. You should be with someone that clicks with you.
That's great. Anybody else? All y'all educated? Meesh, if you wouldn't mind sharing the mic with on.
I can say something kind of brief. I have not been to grad school. But my feelings on this, and I'm also a person considering furthering my education in some way or form, that, there's times in life where, like you were saying, you just gotta live life, and then there's times where you might go back to some sort of education. And I was having another conversation with some people a few weeks ago that basically these settings will accelerate all of your thoughts just because of the environment you're in and the conditions you set yourself in. But our whole lives can't be like that. It just, I feel like you kind of will know when the time is right.
Thank you. Any other questions for you? Yeah, I feel it's that after lunch, this is cool, and it's been a long conference already. But thank you all for being here and just holding a space for us to have this conversation. It is being recorded and will be available to watch, which is really cool. Is there anything else any of you want to say while you're on a stage and you have a mic and free will?
Mostly because I have two wonderful people from my school who are in the back, but there was a little bit of a hiccup on the SNAG website. There is a really wonderful show that includes Ryan's work. He's on here, he's in the Adorn Spaces, but it is at Periodicals, which is also a really fantastic little shop. They sell periodicals, and that is open today. So when does it start?
4 to 9.
4 to 9. So go to Periodicals. It's a really cool place to go see.
Is it part of the gallery crawl?
It is. But yeah, you should go there.
Awesome, thank you. Anyone else? I was like, you look like you got something to say.
I just want to use this as an excuse to ask you, Mia, why, or haven't you?
Next time you're running the panel.
I like how I acted like it was crazy that someone asked me a question. I'm up here, sitting in the middle, by the way.
Because I thought it was so funny by chance both of our pieces were called Heirloom. I was wondering why you called yours that.
Because I wanted to spite you. No, I'm kidding. I guess because I it's going to be an heirloom in my family. My aunts are already fighting over it, and now I'm in the middle of that, which, hey, don't like that, because everyone's yelling in Spanish and I don't know what they're saying. But I think I just wanted to convey that sense of importance for the object, and also how, like, classically heirlooms are like these opulent things that have their gold and their financial investments. And while that is true, I think that heirlooms are also the little things that just make you feel like you're a part of a bigger lineage. And so this piece like might not be worth a lot of money. Like if you ship it to the Diamond District, like the guy behind the desk would just kind of laugh at you, because like melt worth, it's just copper and some vitreous enamel. But to me, it is worth so much more, because it's, you know, like seeing the look on my mom's face when she saw it, and, you know, having that relationship. So I think that I love exploring like what an heirloom can be and what it means to different people, and especially what that means to immigrant families, and how that works, like in terms of their social status and all of that. So that was what went into the name. What about you? I want to know.
I feel like I'm coming from a similar place where, for me, an heirloom is just the emotional aspect. The monetary aspect could matter. Like, it doesn't. I don't care if it's gold or whatever. Like, you know, I think it's so funny that people in your family are fighting over it.
I got a text that was like, so you have to pick your favorite. And I was like, so one of you's my mom, so she wins. And then they were like, that's not fair. I was like, okay, well, I can't really do anything about that.
I guess, yes, there can be some drama with these objects. Like, who gets it?
I'm gonna get haunted.
So that no one wants it.
I don't know. I'm trying. I just wanted to say, maybe you need to make more.
Yeah, one
You know,
person-
like you could make a series or something. Like maybe there's more to this, you know, like this discovery and this curiosity about like what does heirloom look like. I mean, it sounds like you have plenty to keep you busy, but you know, like maybe that's something too, or they can like trade off.
Yeah. Oh, we actually do this.
Sorry. This made me think of my professor, Amelia Toki. Thank you. And she's honestly the reason that I'm a Metalsmith. She was like the first person that I met who really believed in me, and she was the one who gave me the prompt for this assignment, was to make a political pin. So I just wanted to shout her out. But she also, she's an incredible artist and will be at the Brooklyn Little Works gallery with her work in it, and you guys should check her out. She's an incredible person and an incredible teacher, as is the rest of the City Newport staff. But she was like, you should make a series. And I was like, who got time for that? And she was like, well, you got an entire 6-hour class next semester. And I said, you're right. You kind of got me there.
That's what
Yeah.
what she was like, well, guess what? I was
You
like,
have some time. That's awesome. And that's more of that, you know, this conference theme is about labor and legacy. So we're seeing and hearing a lot of different conversations about like what that looks like and what that entails. And I think like those kinds of moments when someone they see you and like they see you bigger and better than you see yourself, and they pull you into something more. And a lot of times it's teachers or mentors or maybe someone who's just like a couple steps ahead of us, you know, or maybe we bring each other up, but like that is such an important part of this, especially for us inside of queer and for y'all BIPOC community, right? Like now more than ever is the time for us to support each other, like lift each other up wherever you can, like because we all know that there'll be times when you need someone else to lift you up. So if you got a little extra, that's my theory. I went through cancer treatment a couple years ago and had to kind of like sit and see where am I gonna like stand? Where do I need to be to get through this wacky journey? And what I created was magic and miracles and bringing love, joy, and laughter. And I've stood in that. That's where I operate from. And I know not everybody has all the stuff that I have, and and social stuff too, but what I'm saying is, like, find what it is that's for you to share, you know, like, why are you here, especially right now? Like, we get to make art, which is so fucking cool, you know, like, it's a privilege to make art, as we've shared, so appreciate y'all being here. Are there any other questions? We still got a few more minutes. Was that a cricket? Not my best cricket impression. I told you, don't give me a mic on a stage. I'll talk.
You'll do a cricket impression.
Okay, I'm gonna do a better one because that was like embarrassing, and if people, you know, see this recording later, they're gonna be like, Tracey, disappointing. It was an okay cricket. I'm feeling a little on the spot. Anyway, moving on. Anything else? Any questions? Anything anyone wants to say? Well, I just want to say, what's on my script? I just want to say thank you. Thank you all for saying yes to being on the panel. Thank you for contributing your work. Meesh, thank you for your time and effort and care that you and Rodrigo and we all put into really looking at all of the work.
That was long.
It was long. I mean, I've had longer, but the other one was ridiculous. But we, you know, like, we really took our time going through and looking at the work and reading the responses and seeing, like, you know, these incredible artists sharing their stories. So just thank you all for being a part of this, being a part of the QM family. So, and then we've got a couple in focus artists here too. Hey, anybody know somebody else? Okay, we love y'all. And so Adorn Spaces will be closing later today, I think. But if you want to head over and take a look after this, you're welcome to do that. As I mentioned, the virtual exhibit is both on the SNAG website and the Queer Metalsmiths website. So snagmetalsmith.org, or one of the many QR codes will get you there. Queermetalsmiths.com, you'll find your way there. Thanks, SNAG. We appreciate y'all giving us a space and platform. Mine too, but thanks to our artists and the other artists. And I did want to mention something cool that's happening. So we're in a time of growth, Queer Metalsmiths is. We've got a couple interns, which is helping us kind of move things along. And we also have an artist in New York. She has a jewelry business, Chris Avery, and we're working together to put a $500 scholarship for an artist to support them with growth. And we're looking at like non-traditional education and growth and opportunities. So stay tuned for that. Hopefully it is the beginning of many opportunities for our artists, because we want to support y'all. And last but not least, 4 p.m. we'll be meeting at the Reflection Pool with Sarah Rachel Brown and the Connector Gathering. So we're just going to gather folks together so we can meet a little bit outside of all this. But inside of it. And head over to the gallery crawl together if you want, or at least just make some buddies, so that you're not here alone, because it can be a lot, especially if it's your first time kind of navigating. So we love y'all. I appreciate you all, and